All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to be giving you a demo of RunningMate Lite. If you have any questions, please feel free to type it in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them. And without any further ado, I'll pass it to Amy.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Well, as she said, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. And I'm going to share my screen. So I won't be able to see the chat right now, but I will refer back to it at the end whenever I've gone through RunningMate. So you should be able to see RunningMate right now. And RunningMate is a voter file and data visualization dashboard. And RunningMate Lite is the free version of that. So it allows high level district overviews and planning, whereas the paid versions, the Pro and Pro Plus, you get individual level data, the ability to export, import, things like that. So there's a few differences, but I'm going to walk through RunningMate Lite and then just kind of highlight those differences as we go. So as you can see here, we are looking at Lane County, Oregon, right here. If someone had multiple districts in their workspace for whatever reason, you'd be able to click that drop down and view those other workspaces. You can see the voter file that we are visualizing right now, which is the source voter file. And that is the Civitech voter file that we maintain. And we have relationships with all of the secretaries of state nationwide, and we work with them to obtain new voter files at different frequencies depending on the state. And then you can also see when it was last updated as well. And this center panel here is the target summary panel. This is dynamic. It will change if you add filters or if you make selections over on the map itself. It'll change this view here. But you can see currently we're viewing the registered targets. There's 351,000 people registered in this county. And you can see as well how many people we have identified as unregistered there. So in this county in particular, we've got 30,000 people in our database that are unregistered. You can scroll down on this panel here, and you can look at the breakdown of the party affiliation. So that's going to be people who are registered as Democrats or registered as Republicans. Those are going to be on either of these two sides here, or they're modeled as Democratic or Republican. And then we've got the folks in the middle who are unknown partisanship. We're not sure if they vote for Republican candidates or causes or Democratic candidates and causes. You can scroll down some more and view the turnout likelihood of the district. So this is the likelihood that folks are going to turn out to vote in a general election. You can also view the demographic breakdown of the district by just continuing to scroll, and you can get an idea of that breakdown here. So the map over here, you can hover over any of the precincts to get an idea of what that precinct looks like in terms of partisanship and demographics. You can also click on those precincts as well, and it will update this center panel. Now, if you were on a paid plan, you would also be able to zoom into the map and see individual household level views of people. You would be able to see their household level, and then you would also be able to click into their household and view their contact cards of who lives there, who's registered to vote, who's not, and general information about those people that live there. So over here on the left, you have your filter section. So you can create a precinct list if you would like, if you know which precincts that you want to focus on. You can also open up these panels here and look at the different filtering and targeting parameters that you're able to add. So Civitech has a few different preset filters that folks can use if they would like. So we have your base targets filter. Those are going to be people who are either modeled as or registered as Democratic and who have a higher turnout likelihood. So they're more likely to turn out to vote And when they do turn out, they're likely to vote for Democratic candidates and causes. So that's your base. We have your turnout filter. And so those are going to be folks who are, again, either registered as or modeled as Democrats, but who have a lower turnout likelihood. So they're less likely to turn out to vote in a general election. So you have to convince them to turn out in this election. We have your persuasion targets as well. So those are going to be those folks that fall more in the middle. We're not 100% sure if they vote for Democratic candidates or causes. And so we have to persuade them to vote our way. And then if you had the Pro Plus plan, which means you have those unregistered targets available in your workspace, then you would also be able to click on that fourth registration targets filter to be able to view those unregistered people. So you can continue scrolling down here, and the RunningMate Lite version, you're only able to focus on registered folks anyways, so you can't really toggle register or unregistered here. But if you had one of the paid plans, you could. You can focus on just people who are registered as Democrats, or if they're registered as an other party, or people who are not affiliated with a party. You can use these filters here for that. You can also use our party lean model, which is a partisanship model that models the likelihood that someone votes for Democratic causes and candidates. So 1 is very likely a Republican, and 100 is very likely to be Democratic. So if someone were wanting to focus on people who were likely Democrats, then they would do something like 60 to 100 partisanship. And then that would get us our number of targets. So deleting that here. We also have another model that is the voter turnout model. That's the likelihood that the person or the people are going to turn out to vote in a general election. So the higher that number is, the more likely they are to turn out to vote. So 1 means they're very likely to vote, or very unlikely to vote, I'm sorry. And 100 means they're very likely to vote. So if you wanted to focus on people who were likely to vote, you could do something again like 60 to 100. And then scrolling down here, you can also filter on actual vote history. So folks who voted in the 2024 general election, for example, or people who voted in the 2024 primary election. You can see there's 98,000 people who voted in those in that primary, and you can see what the breakdown is here as far as partisanship. And then scrolling down a little bit further, you can also filter on demographics. So we can open these up as well. And if you wanted to see how many folks that we have here who are people of color, who are women, who are 18 to 40, say, we've got about 12,000 people who match that criteria. So if you wanted to save that filter to refer back to later, like if you know that you're going to be talking to folks who meet these parameters, you could click save and save your filter and then come back to it at a later time. Something like that. And then it would appear in your saved filters section up here that you can then use later just to come back to those filter settings. If you were on a paid plan, you would be able to then download that list that meets that filter criteria. So we have a couple of download types. We have one download type that is a super in-depth voter file, essentially. So it has all of the person's vote history, including primary and general turnout. It's got information about the districts that they're in, like the state house, state senate, congressional districts, things like that. And then the second download option is a lot more streamlined. It's got much fewer columns, but it has the basic information about people, including like name, address, age, partisanship, and it also has any contact information that we have. So phone number and email address, if we have them, would be included in that download type if this were a paid plan, not the Lite plan. But because it is Lite, we aren't able to download and receive that individual level data. So coming down here, because this is a Lite plan, I won't be able to show it to its fullest, but people are able to create tags for whatever data point that they would like to collect about people if they're on either the Pro or Pro Plus plan of RunningMate. So things like priority issues or precinct chairs, teachers, first-time voters, once a yard sign, donors, things like that. You can create those tags and add them in as you either make contact with people, as you're canvassing people. You can tag people with those tags, or you can import data that includes those tags that can be assigned to those voters. And so then you would be able to include or exclude people who have those tags whenever you create lists. So, for example, if you had a list of donors that you had tagged here in RunningMate, you might would want to exclude that list whenever you make a persuasion campaign, for instance, because a persuasion campaign is trying to persuade people to support you, but your donors already support you. So you might want to exclude them from that type of list. We also have a couple of survey questions and survey responses down here. And again, these are more for the folks who have a Pro or Pro Plus plan. But when you're talking with people, if you have the unregistered data unlocked, you can figure out if they intend to get registered. So, yes, they intend to register, no, or they're still undecided. The support scores down here are available to use for the Pro plan or the Pro Plus. But it's basically the likelihood that this person is going to support you in your campaign. So we have 1 being strong support, 5 being strongly opposed to you or your campaign. So these survey responses also feed into your goals that you set in Goal Tracker. And I will go into those. Let's see, I don't know if I can even show this one. Yeah. So with the voter registration intent goal tracker, this one is unlocked if you unlock that unregistered data. But basically, it allows you to target specific partisanship categories of the unregistered people that we have. And it applies that to your voter registration goals and goal tracker. And that basically tracks the progress that you're making as you make contact with those unregistered voters. And you're able to see your progress towards your goals. And then you can also view it on a map. So I'm going to show the other goal tracker type, which is the campaign goals goal tracker. This is more about voter IDs, but it also is a workflow that helps you to figure out the likely turnout for this upcoming election and your win number. And then it applies that win number to the different target types. So persuasion and turnout targets in particular. So you know how many of those people you need to talk to turn out in this election. So this is the workflow that anyone would have access to, whether it's a Lite, Pro, or Pro Plus plan. But the first step is to put in information about past similar elections. So in this case, this is a county election. It would probably be a countywide seat or something that someone is running for. You would put in the number of people who turned out to vote in that particular election in the past, and then the number of people who were registered who could have turned out in that election. So in this case, we're just going to put in some dummy data. And you'll see here that it calculates for you what that voting rate was. You can put in up to 3 past elections, and it will calculate that voting rate for you. So we've got a 62% voting rate for those last 2 cycles. We'll click continue. It will then apply that voting rate to the total number of registered voters that we have currently. and then it'll show you the turnout estimate. So at a 62% voting rate, if we assume that's going to hold for this next election, we will assume then that about 217,000 people are going to turn out in this next election. So we can scroll down, and that number is then also applied to your win number. So we have 217,000 people predicted to turn out in this next election. So 50% of that turnout estimate plus the 3% win margin that we have would get you a win number of 115,000 people. So you need 115,000 votes in order to win your election. That's your win number. So we would click continue. Got one more main step here. And so if you're going to hit that 115,000 win number, we think that you needed to talk to at least 150% of that win number. So you need to talk to 173,000 people to convince at least that 115,000 to turn out for you. So it breaks that down into a few of the partisanship buckets down here. Sorry, the targeting buckets. So we have at the top, we have inferred support. So those are people that we assume are going to support you because you're a Democratic candidate or cause opposing a Republican, essentially. So we have an inferred support of your base voters, those stronger Democrats who are likely to turn out. So we have that as one section. And then we have another section down below, which is your voter ID goal. So we think you need to talk to 91,000 of these folks, the turnout and persuasion people, to be able to hit that win number. So we have the max number of targets of those type of universes. So we have 41,000 potential turnout targets, and we have 78,000 potential persuasion targets. So the numbers here are preset, but you can change them. So if you know that it's a hard to turn out district, you can always adjust this. If you wanted to talk to all of those turnout targets, you could do that. You could also adjust the persuasion targets. And then you'll click continue when you're satisfied. And then review your goals here. And then you'll click save. And then you'll be brought to a new page here, which is your voter ID goal tracker, your campaign progress. So there's two different sections here. There's the panel on the left and then the map over here on the right. So on the left, you can see how much progress you've made towards those goals. So we need to talk to 41,000 turnout targets and 60,000 persuasion targets. So far, we haven't talked to any of them. We're at 0. If you have a paid plan, like I said, a Pro or Pro Plus, then you can import data that shows support scores. Those support scores of a 1 or a 2, the positive support, are what's going to register here as progress. So you talk with someone, they say, yes, I'm a strong supporter, then that would register here if you were to import that data or if you were to add it individually. So I'll show you that here in just a moment as well. But you can also hover over any of the precincts on the map and get an overview and an idea of how much progress you've made there and how much room for growth you've still got. And you can hover over any of the precincts. Just like the other map, you can click on these precincts as well. And then there's a few filters up here at the top that you can use. The one that I think is really cool is the priority precincts filter. And so it highlights the precincts that have the most opportunity area. So the most number of turnout and persuasion targets are in these priority precincts. So when it does that, it shows them on the map. So they're the bolded ones here, but it also makes a list of those precincts right here. And then you can scroll down as well and view the progress towards your goals in each of those priority precincts. Now, if you were on a Pro or Pro Plus plan and you wanted to download a list of those priority precincts, You could do that from here. You would be able to click one of the two download options and download your data. You would also be able to access the imports. You could click this right here, and it would take you to the import page if you had a list that you wanted to import support scores from. Those imports would need to include the state voter file ID. But again, that's only available for the Pro and Pro Plus plans. So I mentioned also that on the paid plans, you'd have access to add data individually. So if you were on your phone and you logged into RunningMate, this is a tool that you would have access to, which would be the ability to type in either a name or a street and bring up that person's contact card, and it would have all of their information, their vote history, whether they're registered or not, if they're registered as a Democrat or Republican or unaffiliated, things like that. And you would be able to add support scores and data tags from there. So if you were out canvassing, you could do that from your phone, or if you were on a computer, it would look like this, and you would be able to add that data here at an individual level. Um, but because we're on a light plan, we don't have access to individual level data. Unfortunately, we only have that kind of top level insights. So we have the ability to set your goals, but we can't track any progress towards your goals on the light version because we don't have any ability to add data into the platform. So I'm going to go back here just really quickly and just highlight a few of these. So there's a few different places on the light plan that have these locks, and that just basically give you the opportunity to let us know that you want to upgrade your plan to a Pro or Pro Plus plan. And if you were to do that and click upgrade, it would take you to the screen to upgrade, and then it would send us at Civitech a notification that you wanted to upgrade. I will say that we only work with Democratic and progressive campaigns, causes, and organizations. So if someone were a Republican and was clearly a Republican, we would not be able to work with them on RunningMate. And but the light version, anyone can get access to because we don't have the individual level data or export capabilities. So anyone who's out there who wants to see their district and just kind of get an idea of the partisanship breakdown and turnout likelihood and demographics, things like that. This light plan is available for anyone. You can just go to runningmate.io/sign up and choose light. And after you verify your email address and select your district, your account is automatically created. And then you would see something like this, but with your chosen district. So one final thing to show you is if someone was looking for help and looking for more information, you could click the question mark. There's one down here in the right corner. There's also a smaller gray one up in the menu. And clicking it will give you access to any of our help articles. So you can type in a topic that you're looking for help in and click into those help articles. Most of them include videos. So they go pretty in depth into all of these features that we have access to here. You can also ask Elena. So Elena is an AI support avatar, and you're able to speak with her verbally or type in questions, and she will attempt to answer them. So she has access to our help articles and then also campaign knowledge on the back end. She's also good at translating. So she knows 5 languages and she can translate a conversation for you. You just have to ask her to do that. And I'll just show you an example of what Elena looks like.
Hi, I'm Elena, your digital campaign assistant. My mission is to help you get elected. How can I help you today?
Hey, Elena, this is Amy. Can you tell me about the voter registration intent goal tracker, please?
Hi, Amy. I'd be happy to explain the voter registration intent goal tracker. The voter registration intent goal tracker helps workspaces with unregistered voter dataset and monitor voter registration goals. It's a really useful tool for tracking your progress as you connect with unregistered people in your district.
Thank you. All right. And so that is Elena. She's always available. So even if you're on the light plan, you can have access to any of the knowledge that she has. Just ask her questions and she will do her best to answer them. And then if it's something that Elena cannot answer, you're always free to reach out to support@civitech.io, and we will also attempt to help you as well. You can also use the question mark beacon here. And if you're not able to find the answer, you can click ask right there, and it will populate a message. You can click send and it will notify us and we'll be able to assist you after that. So I'm going to pause talking now. Are there any questions or anything that I did not cover or anything that you would like me to go in more depth about?
Yes, Amy, we have one question. What is the smallest geography a user can target?
Sure. So this goes all the way down to the school district level, school district and city council wards. So if you're running for city council ward 1 and it's a location specific within the within the city, we have access to that. So we have those shape files and you'd be able to go and get that. And the cost ranges from $20 to $200 a month. So people who are running for school board and city council, those lowest level races, those are going to be that $20 a month level. And then the $200 a month level is statewide. So, the entire state of Oregon, for example. Someone else asked about integration options. So right now the integrations are pretty limited. We don't integrate with many tools. The only integration that we currently have available is with Target Smart data. So the instance that we're viewing right now is the source voter file. I have not heard of Zapier. So we do not integrate with that. We do integrate with Target Smart data and the Target Smart voter file. And they're looking at other integration options in the future. So we can flag that for the team as well.
And then we
So
also have another one. How do you handle things like school boards with multiple seats? Bethel Park has a population of about 30,000 with 4 school board and 2 legislative seats open.
yeah, so when you say how do we handle it, I mean, if the person is running in a nonpartisan race and they're not uh obviously like right wing, then we're able to work with them. So if there are, say, multiple candidates that seem to be Democratic, we're able to work with them. So I'm not sure if that answers it though.
Robert said he means for win numbers.
Oh, for win numbers. Okay. So yeah, so right now that piece is a little bit limited. It is under the assumption at the moment that there are 2 candidates running in the race. So you're able to adjust the numbers yourself manually to try to get you to to the percentage that you think it's going to be for your win number. But right now it is just looking at a head-to-head race. I know that's one of the things that our team is looking at as well, is how to make that more robust for elections that do have like 3 or 4 candidates running for the same seat.
Right, those seem to be all the questions for now. Does anybody else have any questions? Feel free to type it in the chat or in the Q&A. Right, those seem to be all the questions for now.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the questions. Thanks for being here. I appreciate you, Robert. I know that you've been a supporter for a while, so appreciate you taking the time to be here, and everyone else as well. If you do have any other questions or anything, feel free to reach out. I can put my email in the chat as well if you think of something So this is the link to sign up, runningmate.io/sign up. And then my email address is amy@civittech.io right there.
All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. This is being recorded, so we'll be sure to send you the recording if you ever need to reference it back later. You can reach out to us if you ever have any questions, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.